Buhari encourages universal peace federations, reiterates importance of multi-party democracy.
INEC presents National Voters Register to the political parties.
Ogun State government says no ongoing ransom negotiation with perpetrators of Irrigation train station kidnap.
On Good Morning Nigeria this Thursday, we take a look at the Irrigation project in Adamawa.
As part of effort to ensure food security in the country, the Buhari administration resolved to complete some agricultural and irrigation projects that have suffered neglect or outrightly abandoned in parts of the country.
Yes, and one of such is the Irrigation project in Adamawa State. The project, which started in 1988 during the era of the Petroleum Trust Fund (PTF), was to irrigate 1,200 hectares of farmland in Chochi area of Yola, Adamawa State. But unfortunately, the project suffered setbacks such as encroachment and abandonment for about 8 years, until it was later transferred to the Federal Ministry of Water Resources.
And the project resurfaced in 2006 and was re-awarded to the same company handling it initially. Unfortunately, the narrative remained the same, but the Church Irrigation project got a new lease of life last year.
And that renewed impetus was in July 2022 when the Federal Executive Council approved a contract worth 6 billion naira as augmentation for the Chochi Irrigation project in Adamawa State. And it brings the total budget of the project so far to 11 billion naira with an extension period of 24 months and 12 months effect liability period, making a total of 36 months before completion is envisaged.
According to the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, the review of the contract and its augmentation is to take care of the present high cost of diesel and some other logistics with consideration for increased foreign exchange.
Now that the project has re-emerged and cost augmented, how realistic is the timeline for the completion of the project this time around? And how will the project boost agriculture and food security in Nigeria? These are issues we will take on with our panel of guests as we discuss the resuscitation of the Chochi Irrigation project in Adamawa State. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. I am Kieran Umayan. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Ian John. Thank you once again for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria, coming to you live on the network service of the NTA. As usual, we'll start our complimentary segments with the news highlights, and Comfort Amodu will be our guide. Hello, Comfort. Good morning.
Good morning, Ian. Good morning, Nigerians. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari says the gains recorded in security will be further consolidated and more attention will be paid or given to the economy. Before leaving office on the 29th of May this year, receiving executive members of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria on a visit, the President said with improved security situation, especially in the Northeast, focus has shifted to rebuilding infrastructure and educational reorientation.
Please do not relent in making sure that INEC and other relevant agencies of government carry out their serious duties to conduct peaceful, free, fair, and credible elections. It is the hope of most Nigerians that the forthcoming 2023 elections will be a watershed in the political history of Nigeria. Let our hopes not be dashed.
It is the most serious one, because unless a country or institution is secure, it cannot be managed. So security is involved. And what is happening
delving experience in Nigeria's military and civil rule, President Muhammadu Buhari formally submits that there is no alternative to multi-party democracy. This was while playing host to a delegation of the Universal Peace Federation who called on him.
When there is change of governments in 4 of the states, in the ECOWAS, I see no good God, and so too we have passed that stage. We'll try and stabilize the situation in those countries. I believe the multi-party democratic system is the best. We will try and help our colleagues, both in the sub-region and the continent, to stabilize and just move forward.
Our methodology is really about dialogue. Bring people together, promote constructive dialogue that's aimed at cooperation for achieving improvements or outcomes, contributions to peace.
Vice President Jimmy Osinbajo is calling for more investment in technology to change and improve business model as more Nigerians in the diaspora continue to invest significantly into the nation's economy. And it's no longer next year's election, but next month's election. This brings the reality closer to the voter on the choice of who leads the next generation, or INEC on its party says no going back on the date, and a comprehensive list of the voters was also presented to the political parties. This report gives us the content of the new National Voters Register and INEC's preparedness.
For claims and objections by citizens, the Commission received 53,264 objections from Nigerians to the prevalence of ineligible persons on the register by virtue of age, citizenship, or death. These names have been verified and they have been removed from the register of voters. Consequently, the register of voters for the 2023 general election stands at 93,469,008 voters. The Commission is not contemplating any adjustment to the election timetable, let alone postponement of the general election.
Edo State government says there's no ongoing ransom-rather negotiation with the perpetrators of the Gwebon train station kidnap. The government reassures Nigerians that the kidnapped victims will be rescued alive, and Deputy Governor Philip gave the assurance after a meeting with security operatives and traditional rulers at the Gwebon train station, where 31 passengers were kidnapped on Saturday, January 2023.
We have been inside brainstorming and reviewing all that they have been doing, the bushcombing and other security issues which I cannot tell you now, and whether we need to review our strategy. But what is key is that some rescue have been made. Our target is that everybody must be rescued. Everybody must be rescued. And at this juncture, actually, we want to thank the security agencies, the CP, especially the IG, the Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Army Staff. They've been very, very, very supportive.
And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues shortly after this break.
It's a little for Nigeria. The better days are coming. Better days that will stop up and spread. Vitamins to keep us hope alive. Bring the sparks back to all Nigeria.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. Renewed hope beckons on our people. The silver lining dots the skies. The firm importance of bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust for the realization of their aspirations for a better Nigeria. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He has been tested. He can be trusted. Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria 2023. Vote Kashim Shettima as Vice President. Vote APC. Surely with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the smiles are returning. We are close to home.
Bring them smiles back to all Nigerians.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Today, we are here to tell you that while we may not be there yet, our military and other security agencies have succeeded and are succeeding in substantially restoring security across the nation. As far as the daunting security challenges we face are concerned, we can tell you that the worst is over. And never again will terrorists and bandits and their cohorts hold sway in our country.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Dialogue, empathy, love and unity. These are vital components of nation building. For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language. Let's build and not destroy. Over 6 decades after independence, Nigeria is still caught in the throes of underdevelopment, broken by years of poor leadership, so much so that the leading light of the black race all over the world, Nigeria, continues to be a shadow of what it ought to be. Ethnic rivalries, religious intolerance, alien economy, decaying infrastructure, insecurity, corruption, and unpatriotic leadership have held down Nigeria's development. 2023 presents Nigeria with a unique opportunity to get the leadership question right and restart the Nigerian project. Nigeria needs a leader that is experienced, detribalized, patriotic, and selfless. Together, all Nigerians can get it right and make the country a truly great nation. Alhaji Abubakar, let's rescue Nigeria. This message is powered by a Tiku support group in Europe. Sportsbet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
Well, if you just joined us, still a good time to be part of today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria. Now we go business. World Economic Forum's annual report highlights cost of living crisis and climate change as biggest threats facing the world. Let's now join Kule Adeya for details on business news.
cost of living and climate change are said to be the biggest short and long-term threats facing the world presently. This is contained in the World Economic Forum's annual Global Risks Report, which states that the world must collaborate more effectively on climate mitigation and adaptation over the next decade to avoid ecological breakdown and continued global warming. It adds that governments will face trade-offs in the coming years as societal challenges, the environment and security risks compete for attention. The document, which has been published ahead of the Davos Summit for the past 17 years, factors the views of 1,200 figures across the private and public sectors. And investors on Wednesday gained 154.29 billion naira as the All-Share Index advanced by 0.55% to close at 51,729.87 points. 281.9 million units of securities were traded by investors in 3,679 deals valued at 8.1 billion naira. Equity capitalization closed at 28.1 trillion naira. FBN Holdings and Boa Cements were the most active sectors as the financial sector dominated activities. With business news, I'm Kole Adeye.
Many thanks, Kule, for that business update. It's time for newspaper review.
As usual, Chukuri Okolie Ubaja is here with us for a review of today's national values. Chukuri, good morning.
Good morning.
And happy to see you again today.
Same here. Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning, Chukudi. Welcome. I'll quickly start with the Nation newspaper this morning and just looking at the boldest headline from the Nation. We have Northwest, Southwest top 93.5 million likely voters. And that's right here on page 4 of the Nation, and that's another picture story. Above the masthead, we have APC PCC challenges Atiku on alleged corruption and health status. Next to that, we have bandits kill 2, kidnap 4 in Kaduna attack. 13 Edo train passengers still with kidnappers. You can find all the details right here in the Nation newspaper. Still looking at the front page quickly now. We have Boko Haram, a plot to destroy Nigeria, says Buhari. And finally, we have Supreme Court fixes judgment for Jigawa APC governorship dispute tomorrow. Alright, away from the Nation now, taking a look at the Blueprint newspaper. Of course, the elections come February is making it as the broadest headline this morning. INEC Dowsey Station says February 25, March 11 dates irreversible. The riders present new voter register to political parties. 93.4 million Nigerians register for epic polls. Kano will repeat Abiola Tofa voting pattern that's credited to Ganduje. And details on page 5. We also have security, humanitarian, political crisis in the Sahel worry the US. And that's on page 8 of the Blueprint. We also have here Buhari to Bishops, Boko Haram out to destroy Nigeria. And that's a repeat headline from the Nation this morning. And looking below the picture story, we have come clean on your health status, corruption allegations, APC tells Atiku. That's on page 19 of the Blueprint. We also have train attack, and the government makes U-turn, says only 20 kidnapped. Nigeria has no choice but to restructure debt burden. That's coming from an expert, and details can be found on page 22 of the Blueprint. We also have right here, alcohol, smoking, radiation, major causes of cancer among women. You can read up all the stories in the Blueprints. So let's see the Punch.
Okay, now let's turn to the Punch newspaper for this Thursday. Above the name flag of the newspaper, PDP seeks alliance with 11 parties. That's on page 8. UK shocked Obi's company over account issues, according to reports. It's on page 21. INEC can't be trusted for credible poll. Sure, speaking there is on page 13. And now with Chile Namanya, the Shantinibu's in Burali. It's on page 12. Now, the lead story on the Punch newspaper, INEC final list, that's the kicker. Northwest, Southwest top 93 million voter register. With two lengthy riders. Lagos has 7,060,195 voters. Kano 5,921,370. Kaduna 4,335,208. INEC rules out postponement, says no going back on poll timetable. All that on page 2 of the Punch. Now, what may interest you is the photo story on the Punch newspaper, where President Buhari had a meeting with the Catholic Bishop Conference of Nigeria here in Abuja. He's exchanging pleasantries with Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Matthew Kuka, who of course is a critic of this administration. And Buhari described him as a vigorous fighter. I like that spirit. Okay, now below that we have other trending stories. Marketers project 6-month fuel scarcity. On page 17. Jailing my husband's killer will caution drunk drivers. Widow of slain baker. It's on page 3. Abuja bandits kill man, abduct family members. Check that out on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. Now time to begin Chukwudi Waja for further analysis.
Thank you, Kiriam. You can see that the pellet that was dropped 2 days ago or 3 days ago is still spreading its ripples. But I'm happy to hear from INEC. You know, the Minister of Information spoke up only yesterday. Then other people said, look, we are doing all we can to make sure that February 25 and March 11 are respected in the calendar of the country's democracy story. We are happy that INEC is joining in. We are not going to gloat over what the warning we gave 3 days ago. The point is that INEC seems to have realized that you choose your words when you speak. You know, we were talking then about headlines. At the same event, they said everything is being done to make sure polls take place properly. So why would that not be the headline? Why would the negative be? But it is a good thing that INEC is joining in to say, hey, Nigerians, you've got nothing to worry about. The dates are irreversible. In fact, they've become sacrosanct, almost, so to speak. What further would interest us here is that INEC is giving the final voter register to political parties. Remember that apart from the statutory number of states you must get to qualify, that's talking about the presidential now, to qualify to be voted in, numerical strength or the number of votes you get also matter. So by telling us what the geography of the voting pattern is, you are helping parties know where to go and do more campaigns so that they get more votes. It's fair play as far as I'm concerned. INEC has done well. Interestingly, 93.4 million voters have been registered. I think it's actually 93,469,008 voters. And another point of interest is that 43% of those who have been registered are people who are registering for the first time. This tells you that the interest Nigerians are working up concerning the election coming up, you know, in about how many days? Is it 41 days time or so? The arithmetic escapes me. But the point we're making here is that it's almost an earthquake. The kind of interest Nigerians are bringing into this round of voting. And it augurs well for Nigeria and also for the sub-region. Remember, when Nigeria catches a cold, the sub-region, when Nigeria sneezes, the sub-region catches a cold. So those who are watching the continent are really happy about what is happening to Nigeria or in Nigeria at the moment.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not confused. I'm just so.
Please, let it be.
Historically speaking, we've seen it all in Nigeria electoral process, and the electionary voting and what have you. And when people were speculating that this election might not hold and all of that, I've never taken it seriously because it cannot happen. The election must hold.
You said that
the election must hold.
That's right.
The number of voters in the northwest, southwest, and the other geopolitical areas are fine. The northwest and southwest may be numerically superior in terms of election, but then how many people are going to come out to vote? That's another thing, because of course, the fact that we have more younger voters now captured by INEC than ever before. For the first time in the history of the country, that the youth trooped out, to get involved, in politics, and they must at least get a PVC. Now, understanding that PVC is an instrument, it's not something someone can just buy over with 5,000, 10,000, and all that. So it's a healthy development.
It is really a development. Yes, and then talking about young people, yes, we're interested in the advent of young people registering, showing so much interest. It's actually going to be an earthquake. I feel that if people have worked up this level of interest in terms of registering to vote, I don't see why they would not on polls day come out to use the franchise which circumstance has granted them. So we expect a huge turnout. Yes,
we expect a huge turnout. Of course, that's the expectation. But like Karen already mentioned, it is apparent that this number of people who are actually registered actually turn out to vote. It is not unlikely to see that on election day, maybe you get just like half. Or even maybe not up to half.
I guess they will go above half.
If it goes above half, then it means all the actors in this whole process need to put their acts together. Just so that we get everything right. We're talking about security operatives. We're talking about INEC ensuring that on that day there is no delay. Because we have 44.4 million women who are registered. If a woman is nursing, pregnant, and she gets to the polling unit, and you don't have your materials there, INEC officials are not there, she may likely go home and not return. So there are so many issues that would affect voting on that day. Okay, security situation too. If a young person is going out to vote, if the parents are not registered, for example, and the child is registered, and they hear that, something is happening somewhere, they will not want the child to go out to vote. So that's also another angle to it. And then, besides the fact that we hope that INEC will do the needful to ensure that the timing is on point. We have observers, we have those conducting the election on ground, on time, with materials. Again, the BVAS needs to function optimally, because especially whenever you get there and then they're trying to capture you, your fingerprint is not matching or your face is not reflecting, and they're telling you to wait and all that, and before you know what's happening, time for voting has elapsed. There's so many issues. Really, and it's important that everything actually works well on that day.
I'm going to start from the bottom. Let me do it bottom up. The builders, the assurance we've got is that they've got thousands of backup for that system. That, I think, is something that we should salute INEC for. I hope that they actually...
And we hope that those backup beavers get to areas that are not easily accessible.
No.
You know that it's in certain parts of the country.
Yes.
It's not... if you have to go through a river, for example, or maybe the floods came and some roads are impassable and all of that. So, it's important that all the polling units actually have a standby backup very close. So just in case one is not functioning, I'm just saying that these are things that are likely to
you're only repeating what I said.
So
We said there are thousands of beavers on standby just in case there's a blink in the ones deployed. But we mentioned two things that are very important. Higher number means that it is likely to be a weight on how much INEC can cope. So it matters to you and me that INEC really is ready to deal with a deluge. I may have now used that word deluge of voters or potential voters. You just said that it's not likely up to 3/4 would turn up. But definitely they're going to get a higher number, and this it matters. Then security, of course.
All right. I mean, we have really deliberated on that very well. But before you round off, because they're beckoning on us to leave this segment, Abuja bandits kill man, abduct family member. See, I'm so worried about this because this happened in the Ushafa community of in Buhari Council area of Abuja. So it is not good news at all that one could come to Ushafa and carry out such operation successfully without detection and all of that. And Ushafa is one of the newly carved out area in Abuja developing and all of that. Yes. And there are so many, because I see I think Air Force quarters somewhere around that area. Yes. I'm just wondering how possible it was for the perpetrators to do that successfully and got away.
They usually cash on the situation on the outskirts of a metropolis. But then they could be testing the waters. Yes, they could be testing the waters. So the earlier we nip it in the bud, where it's happening on the outskirts, the better for us. Because over time, they will boldly stride into the metropolis. So the security agencies need to up their game there.
All right, so we hope that the message has been passed, and that will be it for newspaper review today. Many thanks, Chukudi Okolibada, for joining us. And of course, the conversation on Good Morning Nigeria continues after this break. Please stay with us.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a router for just 10,000 naira and get up to 240 gigabyte or a Wi-Fi for 5,000 naira and get up to 125 gigabyte bonus data. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smart phone. Nigeria, African country of the Gulf of Guinea, blessed with natural landmarks and wildlife reserves. Nigeria, largest economy in Africa. Nigeria, famous accomplishment in entertainment and sports. Nigeria, resourced with globally respected human capital. Our uniqueness lies in our tenacity. Our acumen, a testament of success. At NTA, we are forever proud to be the showcase channel of this positive energy and the reflection of the good in our nation. The capacity to tell our nation's story would not have been possible without the support and patronage of the three arms of government: ministries, departments, agencies, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and of course you, our esteemed viewers. As we wish you a prosperous new year, let's get set to make 2023 even greater together.
Operation Wild Punch covers Kaduna and Niger State. The operation was recently reorganized to also cover the critical Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, which had a defunct standby alone operation, codename Operation Thunder Strike. Additionally, as part of the Operation Wild Punch, a subsidiary operation, codename Operation Forest Sanity, has also been launched to flush out the terrorists from the forest that straddle Kaduna and Niger states. These efforts were geared towards flushing out criminal elements from the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway and its environs. I am pleased to inform that Kaduna Expressway has been secured through a combined efforts of the armed forces the police, and other security agencies.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our country people, they talk with one voice. They say that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu dem want as president of Nigeria. For this president election, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu na the one wey you all know and see all the good work he dey do for the country, especially running the governor of Lagos State. Now which God use turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria? Today, many people all over Nigeria dey like to go Lagos go settle down for business and better life. Because of the good work wey Bola Tinubu do, people of Nigeria, as Asiwaju do for Lagos, na so he ready to do am for the whole country. Vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party wey get to grow.
We thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Good Morning Nigeria. And to begin our conversation on the subject matter, let's watch this package on Chochi Irrigation Project in Adamawa, put together by our own Oyemi Ajay.
The Chochi Irrigation Project was one of the projects handed over by the defunct Petroleum Special Trust Fund, PTF, to the Obasanjo administration. It could be recalled that Impress Bakuleri was awarded the 5 billion naira irrigation contract after winning the keenly bidded project, which was to be completed within the stipulated 24 dry months, barely 3 to 4 years. The project, when completed, was expected to not only boost food production, but contain the problem of flooding and erosion in parts of Yola town. The location of Chochi and its contributions to agriculture attracted many farmers who engaged in building the capacity of farmers in irrigation farming. Unfortunately, it suffered a lot of setbacks as PTF was scrapped, and it became apparent that the then government lost the political will to continue with the project, hence the delay in its execution. This project started in 1988 during the Petroleum Trust Fund era to provide 1,200 hectares of irrigation in Chochi in Yola, Adamawa State. For over 20 years now, the project has been abandoned, with even the farmers adversely affected as they call for revisitation of the project. Just last year, July 20th to be precise, the Federal Executive Council, FEC, approved a 6 billion naira as augmentation for the Chochi Irrigation Project in Adamawa State, as well as 1.4 billion naira for procurement of aviation equipment. The augmentation of 6 billion naira now takes the project to 11.026 billion naira, with an additional extension period of 24 months plus 12 months effect liability period, making a total of 36 months.
And now we are poised to complete it, and one of the key issues is that the project is based on pumping. At the time it was awarded, diesel was very cheap, but now diesel is so expensive, so we are providing a solar component to provide energy for the pumps to irrigate the land. And this is one of the reasons, in addition to variation of prices, foreign exchange fluctuations, that calls for a review of this project, seeking for an augmentation of a 6 billion and an extension of time to complete the project.
Now, will this indeed end the delay in the completion of the irrigation project? When completed, what other benefits will this give to the country at large, aside the farmers in the region? Guests already seated will be answering these questions and more shortly.
Started in 1998 by the then Petroleum Trust Fund, PTF, and was later took over by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. The project's initial plan, according to available data, is to provide 1,200 hectares of irrigation land in Chochi to enhance farming activities. 25 years after, little or nothing was achieved. due to neglect by the successive administrations and encroachment of the area by individuals. In June 2022, the Federal Executive Council approved the sum of 6 billion naira for the implementation of the Chochi irrigation projects to enhance value chain in agricultural production and to ensure food security. Some of the farmers said the projects, if completed, will be beneficial to them and will improve on the agricultural output.
At the beginning, the work is good. But later on, I don't think that they have even finished up to 30% of it. It is there. Nothing is moving.
It will have been better for farmers, for every citizens of this Yola town. But for now, we cannot say anything because we have not seen anything.
In Yola, Yusuf Jiga, NTA News.
Alright, so thank you really for the background report, and of course that report's coming from Yola on the Chochi irrigation project. Now joining us in the studio here in Abuja to discuss our topic is the Director Irrigation and Drainage, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, Rinke Oluni. Thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you.
Alright, also with us in the studio right here in Abuja is the former SSG Adamawa State, Dr. Umar Rinder. Many thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Alright, and we have in our Yola studio an agronomist and former director of environment, African University Yola. He is Ibrahim Haman Adamasong. He's also a certified project manager. So welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. In fact, we are in fact celebrating John Wheeler for the first time on the network service, and we are going to ensure that we speak to you today via Wheeler because we've been working on that for a while now, and we are happy that we've been able to establish a link with NTA Yola studio. We will return to him when we get things right. We also to inform you that we're expecting to have another guest, Ahmed Mahmoud Abba. He's going to join us from Ghana via Zoom, and when that happens, we'll let you know. But meanwhile, let's welcome Dr. Bimde and Madam here in the studio. Yes, we are talking about irrigation, a project that started in 1988. And yet to be completed. Needless going to what transpired in between. But what is important now is that there is a focus on that. I would like you to start this conversation by giving us a lead, into what has really happened new at the Chochi irrigation project. What is new?
Thank you very much. Chochi irrigation project is one of the PTF transfer projects that was transferred to the ministry. And the project was, let me say, reassessed and procured. Along the line, there were moments when budgetary provisions limited the completion of the project as it was expected to be within the years. And you know that some of these infrastructures, including irrigated agricultural infrastructures, they are capital intensive, and that is why it is pertinent that when we commence any project, it is good to ensure that we receive enough funding to be able to complete it as at when required. When the project continued, which consists of provision of hydraulic infrastructure, dredging of viability, that also enable the flood control in Chochi community and the environment, towards provision of cropping facilities throughout the year. The food security was the main focus and is still the main focus, as well as provision of opportunity for livestock and fisheries. When this administration came in, we had technical audit of our projects, and Chochi irrigation projects was one of the ones that was ranked
as a priority concern. So it was based on this that the efforts to bring on board again came in, and then the project was redesigned with the incorporation of solar energy. As was mentioned earlier, the idea initially was to use diesel, and when the initial design was made, diesel was very cheap. However, with time, diesel became very expensive. Not only church irrigation projects, but some other irrigation projects then that were on board, that were designed. You know, it was very easy. When you finish, you hand over to farmers and they are ready to go on with the facilities. But however, when the farmers notice, even when you put the infrastructure, they walk away because they can't break even from using the diesel. So that was why the project was now redesigned, and now they are going to be deploying solar energy on the project. Unfortunately, last year, the Federal Executive Council, having gone to PPP, graciously approved the rehabilitation and completion of the project to the tune of 6 billion augmentation on the previous contract.
Approval is one thing. What about the funds proper?
Yes, that's another issue, because I mentioned earlier that the funding is also very pertinent. For now, we are hoping that by the 2023 will have provision in addition to assessing alternative source of funding. We want to look at the green bond, because now with the use of solar, it means that there will not be emission, unlike using diesel or petrol driven. So that is one of the projects that will qualify for, that has enough credentials to qualify for green bond funding. So we are hoping to get funds to supplement whatever fund we have from the budgetary provisions. And we'll also be happy if the provision in the budget 2023 can be briefed up, so that we'll be able to have enough fund without any delay anymore. You know, some of this infrastructure, when you commence and you don't complete, by the time you go back, some might have deteriorated, you need to now reassess, and that is what has been impeding some of these projects. So when you have a project that's already set for completion, it's needful. We target it, we complete it, and we hand over to the farmers. And this is a project that will benefit more than 2,500 farmers, and a couple of we are talking of 1,500 households. Apart from the opportunity for livestock, then grazing environment for the animals, as well as fisheries, and then flood control. This project is very key.
The project is key. Many thanks, Engineer Oyeronke, but you're hoping, from what you have said, to get funds to complete it in 2023. That would be like 35 years after the project actually started. So I'd like to ask Dr. Umar Binde, you were SSG in Adamawa State, so I mean, you are at home with this project, you know what's going on, you saw it, I'm sure you saw it start, and you know where it is at the moment. My question to you is, do you really think that continuing with this project is the right way to go? Because we hear that encroachment, so many issues, like you have said, so many things that have been put in place before have deteriorated and all of that, and with the present cost of completing that project, it will amount to about 11 billion naira. Do you really think continuing with this church irrigation project is the way to go, or do you think that like with some things it is better to start afresh or start something new than to try to repair what is not working or didn't work or whatever? Do you think this project is actually very important?
Thank you very much. You see, the Chochi project, I am sentimentally connected to it. It is dead in the middle of where I come from, where I was born. I'm from Yola. Secondly, the Chochi itself is a name of a stream, historically. We used to swim in that stream. That was our swimming pool, so to say. And now it has developed into this gigantic project. Back to your question of being SSG, being from Adamawa State, being an engineer and so on and so forth, putting all these ingredients to analyze whether this project is to be continued or a new one to be started. I can honestly tell you, the place when you go there, what you see on the basin that actually
the project was based on is one of the most beautiful spots in this country. I used to stand there and just look at it. That's number one. Two, this project is about water, fresh water. And as we speak, it is one of the floodplains when the rainy season comes. So there is a lot of water because it's just bordered by River Benue, and then all the streams are actually feeding the River Benue, and that is the Chochi area. Three, this project is about agriculture. The traditional function of Adamawa people, and particularly the people living in that area, is agriculture, dominated by that. Four, it's about technology. It is about utilization of skills to build canals. It's about skills to breed seeds and crop to plant. It's about skills to manage machinery and so on and so forth. You have the director talking about using pumps to pump water and so on. It's about skills to maintain canals and so on and so forth. That spot in Yola is surrounded by a college of education, a polytechnic, a private university, a technical full-fledged university, a teaching hospital. So the ingredients to produce the critical mass of people to run it is there. So when you put all these two things together, to me, it is about pushing ahead and ensuring that indigenously it is energized to take forward. It's not just about money. This is about a project that can produce food. This is about project to manage water. This is about project to ensure that flooding is controlled. This is about project, as she put it, it has potential for aquaculture. It has potential for even water sport in that area. And so the viability for continuing it, I think, should be a huge priority, particularly to the incoming government, to ensure that not just the funding, but a timeline should be set that this is the funding that is required, this has to happen by this period of time, that has to happen by that period of time, and we have to conclude it by that period of time, so that we can know, as we scan through the timeline, whether we are behind schedule, whether we are ahead of schedule, or whether we are on schedule, so that we can be able to deliver. This is typical project management challenge, and I think we'll overcome it using very powerful people like the director and others. I think we're on a roll.
Yeah, well spoken, sir, you know, and what I've just said made it very clear that it is a highly technologically driven project, high technologically driven project that you have mentioned there. You know, madam, I won't come to you now because let's establish contact with Ibrahim Haman Adama Song. I wanted to come to you on the issue of the practicability of what you have explained previously with respect to implementation or whatever that has been laid, you know, for implementation. That's always the bane of our national development. We have so many dams in this country, and I'm sure all those dams, there are up to 100 dams. I'm not sure how many that are functional at the moment. And each of these dams will have each of them has a irrigation component on that. I don't know how many of them are functional, you know, when it comes to irrigation. And now we are facing a major irrigation project in this country, which will turn around, you know, things in that part of the country, and we are, fiddling with it. Now, let's begin Ibrahim Muhammad and Adama Song in our Yola studio. So once again, let me welcome you formally to the program. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you. I will want to at least.
Yeah, it's not really okay.
Practically, the project is practically achievable. Of course, there are a lot of setbacks before it is now reviewed. But when it is properly addressed, we will arrive at the main objectives of the project. That is to provide 1,200 hectares of irrigable land for over 1,200 families. This is a great achievement if it is done for the poverty alleviation in Adamawa State. You know, Adamawa is one of the poorest states in Nigeria. With this project, 3 or 4 local governments will achieve the poverty alleviation that I'm talking about. Yola North, Yola South, and part of Fufore. With the 1,200 families, I think a very heavy reduction in poverty of the 3 local governments and Adamawa at large. And as it is now, the contractor, Baccalaureate, impressive Baccalaureate, as I know before, is a very good manager of projects. And I feel with the addition of the Nigerian specialists, although some of them are laid to rest, but I think there are some still who are going to augment the projects, and then they will see to the completion of the project as planned. Yeah.
Okay, we've had it, but I'd like to stay with you so that we can take opportunity of a clear signal at the moment between Abuja and Yola. You have made mention of the fact that your expectation is that when the project is completed, it will be of high benefit to Adamawa people. You see, about 4 council areas will benefit directly from that. Now, I'm so concerned about implementation because that project has been there for a very long time, and that the government at the sub-national level, that's Adamawa state government, for instance, I'm not sure how much a push that it did in the past to encourage the federal government to step into this project before now. And I was just going to ask the former SAG to say, look, why didn't they make this move earlier than now? But my interest now is on implementation. How do we ensure that the implementation will be carried out to the letter?
In the area of project implementation, the most important thing is that the various stages of project management are carried out at when due. The initiation of the project has been done. The funding has been also there. Next is the planning is there. The execution is the one that now we are facing. The contractor is mobilized to the site, and the monitoring teams are already on ground. What is important is for each and every sector of project management is properly addressed to the end of the project. There are activities that may be intervened by government policies, but I think in this project there must be an ad hoc arrangement that the project bypass administrative bottlenecks so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. Otherwise, if we go through bureaucratic tendencies, it will definitely be delayed. So the next thing is that by the time the contractor have now started all the big components of the project, everything will flow smooth without interaction, without intervention, without any administrative bottlenecks. It will definitely achieve its own goal.
All right, thank you so much, Ibrahim Haman Adamasong, for your response to that question. We will definitely come back to you in Yola, yes, because for people in Yola, they understand the importance of this project and why it's really very important for it to be completed and all of that. So we would hear more from you. But quickly, I would like to ask Engineer Oyewonke. You spoke earlier and you talked about hoping that you get funds that you need for the completion of this project. Could you tell us what the likely completion date will be if you get funds, and then what's the guarantee that the issues that you have had in the past, 35 years is a long time, so what's the guarantee that the issues that have cropped up in the past does not crop up again, and also stall the project from reaching completion? And then could you tell us the contractor handling the project this time around?
Thank you very much. Let me start from the last question. Impresit Pakme was the earlier contractor, and they are still on board. However, under the able leadership of our Honorable Minister, we have been able to complement the technical expertise with a local contractor, and that gives us
the impetus to be able to follow through technically and in every aspect.
A local contractor now,
yes,
the previous contractor.
Yes, they have a joint venture collaboration to execute and implement the project now. So, and the other contractor is an indigenous contractor, and the two of them, they are partnering together to work collectively to achieve, that project. If all things being equal, the contract, the extension is for the period of 18 months. That is, within the next 18 months, we are in the first quarter of
1.5 years.
1.5 years. 1.5 years. All things being equal.
Okay, so what's the guarantee now? Because the previous contractor that has been on the project for 35 years is still a part of it now. So why is the ministry still staying with that contractor? Because I'm sure that besides maybe government not meeting up with funds, there are certain parts of the deal that the contractor also failed to meet up with. So why are they still part of it? And how is that guarantee they will deliver now?
Yes, the contractor implements it. It's not that they are not competent, but they are being maybe, let me say, we needed to bring in the additional expertise because of like the man said, some of their staff that are already not no more in the company, and not so many of them, just very few, and then the focus that the government has to ensure that this project is completed as at when due, rather than starting a fresh procurement all over, which will take a longer time. We make sure that we sourced, in fact it was a complementary effort, both with the MSS places and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. We did due diligence on the new partner that they are partnering with, and we have confirmed that with this collaboration, the project will be achieved much more speedily than we ever thought.
Well, I think I'm at home with the local content initiative there, involving a local contractor, for the job. This is what Executive Order 5 is all about, local content, especially on science, technology, and innovation. Dr. Bilde, now we have cleared certain, perhaps what Nigerians may term, I won't believe it. This is not believable usually because nobody wants to trust government, especially when it comes to projects of this nature. And permit me to tell Nigerians that that project was conceptualized even before my colleague here, was born. I don't know, it's not a joke. In my opinion, before she was born, that project was conceptualized. And today she's discussing the project on TV. That shows what actually happened between the years we're talking about. And that's not a good story to write of a nation that has not just the money to do that, but political will at the time. But because what we are lacking now is continuity. What happened was that when PTF ended, the successful administration did not bother to venture into that. But now we are doing it. Dr. Bundu, what is the guarantee, just like my colleague asked, that the government of Adamawa State will follow this meticulously, because the benefit is domiciled in Adamawa State. You couldn't achieve that when you are SSG, perhaps for political reasons or something. But how are you sure now? What's your guarantee?
Well, you see, this is a very, very important project, and it's a project Nigerians must understand cannot just completed by the Ministry of Water Resources. This is a composite project. First, it is about water. Therefore, the ministry has other the similar projects. They have 12 river basin development authorities competing with this. Even in Adamawa State, there is Upper Benue River Basin Development Authority competing with this project. What are they competing for? First, they are competing about resources, but most importantly, they are competing about technical personnel. This project must, probably through Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Science and Technology, must tell Nigerians or have a plan that over the next 20-30 years, we have a pool of 20 to 35-year
engineers, agronomists, technical expertise to run this type of projects. This is not just about digging canals and then allowing water to flow. We go there, we clap our hands, and then we say it has been completed. No, it is about ensuring that the canals need daily maintenance. This is not about monthly maintenance. The tiles will fall off, the water will block, weed will grow, fish will grow, animals will die inside. So the technical expertise to do the management must be there. Secondly, we're talking about local content. We cannot continue to, each time we construct roads, we see the foreigners behind us. Each time we do trains, we see foreigners behind us. Each time we do power stations, we do foreigners behind. We do water project like this, we see water. No, this is a country that has over 240 universities producing young people with supposedly technical expertise to manage our technology-based projects. This project must ensure that that pool is there. Two, the things to happen there, the plants, the flora and fauna. We have biotechnology research institutes. We have, faculties of agriculture, faculties of engineering and all that. The work must be able to concentrate on these projects to say that, oh, if it is rice, we are going to have a 2 months rice variety to mature and grow. This is how to produce food. This is how to produce raw materials for our industry. And then the third level is that processing and sustaining the whole project has to also happen. This is about engineering, about technology, about research. So to me, the whole project is about being composite. We must also demonstrate, not just to this president, but to the next president, that we have the partnership and synergy energy in this country. We must stop from operating in islands, thinking that, oh, this is my project and I have to do it. There is no project that can be implemented by just one ministry. Agriculture must be seen in this. Science and technology must be seen in this. Education must be seen in this. Youth development must be seen in this. Social systems must be seen in this. This is what is going to finish, run, management and sustain these projects. And it's not just about money.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Umar Binder. Before I ask my next question, which will be to Ibrahim Haman in Yola, I'd like to respond to Karen. First and foremost, you have access to my birth certificate, and if you do not have access to my birth certificate,
I'm a journalist like you are, so we don't disclose our sources of our information.
Okay, then maybe I'll take you to court in that regard, so that we can argue this out.
I'll show you more when we get there.
Okay, well, we're talking about this project, Ibrahim Haman song. I'd like you to respond to me now. We hear that the process or where this project is supposed to go through, people have encouraged on it, people have destroyed certain things and all of that. How optimistic are the people around where this project would run through about it? Because I'm sure that besides maybe government not meeting up, the contractor not meeting up, I'm sure that people also have a role to play in ensuring the completion of this project. Are they really excited about it? You and Yola, tell us, is it that they want it to come to fruition, or is it that people around this project just don't see the need and may not want to give government and the contractor the needed support? What's the position at the moment in Yola? Adama Song.
The people around and the project team are readily optimistic that this project is achievable. The bulk of the work on this project is the movement of the earth and then excavation of the soil and then building the embankments around to make sure that the infrastructure to irrigate 1,200 hectares is available, and the land leveling also is there. So the most important thing is that the contractor having the equipment to do these jobs, and the equipment, I mean the excavators, the graders, the bulldozers and what have you, for the movement of the earth from one point to another, and then for the leveling of the land. 1,200 hectares leveling is not a joke. It can take more than 2 years for you to level 1,200 hectares. As you know, during the rainy season, they may not likely do the work because of the rains. So this also will affect their own achievement. But if they are planned very well during the dry season, they will be able to achieve as much as they want to achieve before the rains starts. And the people around are actually optimistic because they are long time ago waiting for this project to be completed. You can see even now with the project not completed, a lot of people are farming around the area from Yola, Jimeta up to Fufore area. You see a lot of farmers that are drilling boreholes to farm rice and many other vegetable crops. So I think people are optimistic, people are ready, people are supporting this project, and there will be no problem in terms of the community at all.
Okay, I will remain with you, Mr. Song, because I want some other clarifications, with respect to the project proper. Let us have an understanding of this. Is there a pool in the area? Are you going to source water from underground water? Is it underground water or surface water? Or do you have are you going to have that kind of technology that will make it possible or facilitate the diversion of flood, for instance, to the area to augment whatever source of water that we have in the place? I just want Nigerians to understand what this project looks like in terms of technicality, practicality. Is it water from underground? Is it surface water? Are we going to trap water or divert flood to the area, or what? Let us go technical now. Perhaps Dr. Bindo, our engineer, Olvini will also talk on that.
The project, the water that is going to be diverted from the flood during the rainy seasons and the overflow of River Benue and other rivers around, with the channels like the Chochi channel and many other channels around, the water will be diverted into a point, a lower point, where the water will be harvested and uplifted for the project to irrigate the 1,200 hectares. There is enough source of water to be harvested and kept over a period of time before the rainy season, next rainy seasons, and the project will use the harvested water. It is not just the surface or the boreholes or any other. It is the floats, the excess from the River Benue, the excess from other rivers around, the excess from the streams, and then the excess during the peak of the rainy seasons are all diverted to a point, a low point, where it is harvested and kept like a dam, a very big dam, and this dam, this water will be uplifted to the irrigation land for the cultivation of the crops. That is the main achievement that the project has to achieve.
Thank you, Mr. Sangad. Just quickly coming to Engineer Olumi, you are in the Ministry of Water Resources. I'm sure you know that in some parts of the world, that are desert-like, irrigation projects are everywhere. I mean, it's what they depend on for a lot of things. But in Nigeria, what does it look like developing irrigation projects? It's now like something that is so much of a big deal, rocket science. Could you explain to us, could you tell us what really are the issues, beyond Chochi irrigation project now? Because we do not see a lot of, such projects. I mean, this is just coming to limelight, I'm sure, because the people in Yola, like Engineer Binder, are pushing that, we need this and all of that. But I think that there are so many locations in this country where we need such projects. So why is it so much of a big deal right here in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Let me just mention something briefly on what our man from Yola has just said, that, as he said, the water that we just mentioned, the water will come together and we have reservoir. This project also will have reservoir where water will be impounded, and it will also enable flood control. Coming to your comments, I will not say that irrigation is not, we don't have
irrigation projects, you may not have had enough that you desire, but as I tell you, you need to get to some parts of the country to see the tremendous work that is already going on most of our projects, irrigation projects. The major factor that affected some of them, I already mentioned them earlier. But projects like dairy irrigation projects of about 2,114 hectares will soon be completed by February or latest by first week of March. Then some of our projects, the diesel issue that I mentioned, we did redesign, now incorporating either connection to national grid or solar dimension to it. If you go to medium irrigation project, for example, in the southwest, we have the project that has also been long. But now, based on the priority that we set, it's also one of the projects that we are going to proceed with, rehabilitate, and move forward with it. We are connecting the project to national grid, as well as complementing with solar energy. So most of our projects that we had before, some of them that are not gravitational, was the issue of energy. But now, with the new move that this present administration did, some of them are now going to be complemented with solar energy, as well as national grid where feasible. Like SAPCO irrigation project, we already installed solar PV system there that is powering water to the reservoir. But we are not yet there yet, as we mentioned. And this is the collaborative effort. I want to encourage Nigerians that we need, to really have irrigation as our main focus now if we want this country to exit from dependence on petroleum products, which is no more also paying us. We need foreign exchange earnings.
Exactly.
As you said, places like Morocco, you see irrigation everywhere. Ranging from, mainly micro irrigation projects that even maximize the use of available water. Irrigated agriculture should not only be promoted by the federal government, but the state government should also come into it, as well as the local government. When you travel kilometers, you see irrigation projects spanning the length of the road, left and right. Many of them grow what they eat, and they eat what they grow through irrigated agriculture. Irrigated agriculture enables all year-round farming, thereby providing opportunities for our youth that are come out. You don't even need to bother to be looking for a white-collar job. When you are into irrigation development, even if it is micro, you are good to go. You will just be meeting the demands and targets. And that brings me to the issue of land. Sometimes when we want to develop irrigated agriculture, some of the farmers, they feel insistent to even make the land available for improvement or deployment of these facilities. Maybe they think, we keep sensitizing. This project is yours. We are improving the land. Like the equipment that we have talked about, some of the land they are encroached into. You see estates all over where it's designated to be agricultural land. That is where we also need the intervention of the state government.
Yes.
Any area designated for agricultural purpose, they should not allow individuals to use when it comes to land use. The land use should be defined. This area is good for agriculture. Let us face it squarely. This country can produce enough food not only for ourselves but for export. And we earn foreign exchange. People all over the world will be coming here to get their food. We'll be selling food to them. But it is a collaborative effort.
Yeah, madam, fantastic. I'm with you in all of this, because you've made some critical points. So it's not yet to hulu, right? But again, something is being done. I want to appreciate the fact that the current administration has done something totally different from what previous government did with respect to water resources. Because I was privileged to cover water resources for a while and understand the huge burden that you have with respect to the issue of irrigation and other matters affecting water supply. We will return to some of these issues much later. But now I'm interested in this issue of energy, the energy sourcing. Dr. Bondo, I was privileged to be in Kibuk. Kibuk is somewhere in Israel. These are a set of Israelis that returned to desert before 1948 when Israel was created. But I had this community thing about them. Like the leader of the place told me that they have cultivated over the years deep irrigation. They are claiming to be the founders and the originators of drip irrigation, giving the plant the only water that it requires, not to water the entire land, but plant after plant will have it and stuff like that, which can be done, as Madam said, at a micro level. We can do that even at our backyards. Simple technology. In China, it is there. Families have irrigated farms behind their backyard and all of that. Now, talking about energy, I'm talking about the solar. It's very huge. It's humongous in terms of monetary value. So how do you go about that?
Well, you see, like I said before, this is a composite of so many actors and bits and pieces. First, based on what Madam submitted about state governments, I think Adamawa state government must be more serious. And the way to be serious is that first, it has to understand the project, the usefulness of this project to the people of Adamawa state, how it will create jobs, how it will generate momentum for peace and unity. Two, it has to, although Chochi it's brand a federal government project, and normally state governments stay away from federal government thinking that federal government has all the money. The other state government must ensure that they understand this project, and they even should continue to come to the relevant ministers and forge partnership to encourage it to happen. Three, Adamawa state government should not encourage encroachment of this. Every encroachment of the piece of land is done through the Ministry of Land or whatever. That should be stalled. You know, the few plots that have been given to filling stations and other should immediately be stopped and be reclaimed, and I will advise that they should even register this 1,200 hectares into some kind of, protected by law, that this is for this irrigation and nobody can touch it, so that the House of Assembly in Adamawa State should proceed with that. Coming to the technologies, drip irrigation, yes, was invented in Israel to minimize or to ensure effective utilization of water but in agriculture. But that is high tech. Because imagine, if you remember, if drip is a tiny little thing with a pinhole, and the drop is dropping one after the other, if you have a tiny piece of dirt, it will block that hole. So that means you have to know that the whole line of supply of water must be filtered, must be managed, must be cleaned, so that brings you back to the technical know-how. Adamawa state government should, in my opinion, establish a small training institute to upgrade graduates, non-graduates, even non-school people for management of this kind of projects, so that you have the pool of people to actually look forward to engagement. So the project is viable, water is available as you had, the land is available, and the people are agriculture oriented and also aquaculture. They are cows people to do with herding and animal production. The whole thing is actually good for Adamawa State, and I'm sure if they are listening, they should take this absolutely very seriously. I know possibly the next administration will take it very, very seriously, and I will take.
What about the powering energy, powering of the project?
Well, you see, Adamawa State being a sunshine state certainly will borrow to the solar technology. But I mean, it's again about composite. You have to use fossil fuel to pump. It's all about pumping and then ensuring that things, either when they don't flow by gravity, they are pumped. So the solar energy will be useful, because 1,200 hectares, to be quite honest, I know I had my brother there say that it's actually small compared to real-time agriculture production. So the tubes are all locally manufactured, and I think putting everything together, the project should be able to harness what is available. You know, there are institutions in this country that are produce so many innovative power-based things. All this should actually be moved and commercialized into this type of project, so that we can be able to sustain them technically.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Umar. I'll just go quickly to Ibrahim Hanan. The question I asked you earlier about the people willing to support government and the contractor about this project, engineer Olumi, you actually mentioned it, talking about the fact that some people are not willing to give their land, and at the moment some people have encroached. I would like you to respond again. Those who have encroached, I hope that they are willing to vacate such places, just so that this project can be completed, because that would be another issue. If those who have encroached do not want to, or if there are people in high places, like we always get to hear sometimes, it's still going to stall the project. So I want you to respond respond to that first and foremost. And then, of course, we have mentioned so far that over 2,500 farmers are going to benefit from this project. You mentioned that 3 to 4 local governments will be impacted. Could you tell us the impact of this irrigation project across all sectors, of Adamawa State, and could you, just give us figures, let us know what exactly would happen, how it would transform Adamawa. You said Adamawa is one of the poorest states. Would it actually make it the richest now?
Like you said, there are a lot of encouragements on the project area, and these encouragements are, most of the people there are on the high level individuals, and it is very difficult for somebody to now say they should just vacate the area because they are likely properly been issued with certificate and everything, like the filling stations. Now there will be no filling station without approval of the government, the NNPC and what have you. So they have their approval to be there, although in the projects that is
we are beginning to have a challenge getting the audio of Ibrahim Ahmad Adama's song. And that's a very important question my colleague has put to him. I hope we can get him reconnected to get the answer. Very important answers. Anyway, it's about time for us to have a short break, but I don't want to believe, or maybe many Nigerians will also not like to believe, that because somebody is highly placed in society, they will now go and encroach into a land. Somebody issued CFO. It's not God, there's a human being that did it. So somebody should also say, look, this CFO was illegally done. When do we begin to do the right things in this country? Because somebody is highly placed, he encroached in government land, a land provided for agriculture, which he needs to survive. And he go there and build a filling station, and he knew that that place has been slated for agriculture, and he went and met those concerned, paid his way into having it. As a matter of fact, if I had the wherewithal, I would demolish the area. I'm telling you, that's the only way to get it done. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on NTA Network Service. We'll take a short break now. We'll be back very shortly. Stay with us.
The security situation in Nigeria has been reasonably stable in spite of activities of unpatriotic elements engaged in various criminal activities around the country. Daily situation reports coming in from states. 2 months ago, it has shown relative peace on many of our highways, such as Abuja, Kaduna Birnin Gwari, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kaduna.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All Nigerians. Against all odds, we shall and must remain united. We may have our challenges, our problems, and setbacks. However, together we shall overcome them all. What doesn't break us shall make us stronger. This is the mindset that shall bring progress and prosperity to our beloved country. Do not let tribal and religious sentiments govern how you think, act, or feel. Don't be influenced by those who want to destroy our precious national unity. Everybody who is a Nigerian is your brother and your sister. This is the mindset of the new Nigeria. It is also the mindset that we must all adopt. Let us support each other in creating the Nigeria of our dreams. This message is from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Everywhere you go, from banks to hospitals to public offices, mass transit stations, airports, and even telecommunication centers, senior citizens are treated as nuisances. They are not. They are senior members of our society, and they deserve the utmost respect. We shouldn't be having our aged fathers and mothers standing in long queues to withdraw their monies at banks. Our retired senior citizens shouldn't be caught standing in buses for lack of seats or chasing after one just to get to their destination. Senior citizens shouldn't have to sit long hours in hospital corridors with no geriatric specialist to attend to them. Our senior citizens deserve better treatment from all of us. They deserve to be listened to. They are deserving of seat reservations on public buses and priority attendance in public spaces. As young people, we are quick to say, no one owes you. This is not true. We owe the elderly members of our society a helping hand, our services, and respect. Age-friendly societies have more senior citizens enjoying good health, living safely, and engaging in meaningful community work than those who do not. Dignifying age-friendly services for senior citizens.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and of course we're talking about the Chochi Irrigation project in Adamawa State. And before the break, I tried to ask Ibrahim Hanan Adama song, some questions about, the people and encouragement, what's going to happen to those who have encouraged, and of course for him to tell us the impact of this project, across all sectors, because he said Adamawa is one of the poorest, so we want to know if this will actually make Adamawa, one of the richest now. So I'm sure we have clear signals from Yola, so let's quickly hear his response.
You see, like I said, many of them have been somehow, led by some of the government officials to be given the land there by also approving with their own certificate of occupancy. But the most important thing is that where the diversion has to pass through to the lowest point, for anybody who has any structure on that point must have to vacate. That is, there is no two way about it. And those who built their houses around, they should know that even if they are not asked to go, by the time the flood of all these areas are diverted to the lower points, and there will be excess, and it is going to be in their houses. It's going to destroy them. So they have to leave. They have to leave by the project area. They have to leave. In essence, there is no reason why they should be allowed to stay there. First of all, they are going to protect them because it's for their own health, it's for their own security to leave the area. And then secondly, the project is important for over maybe 2,500 families. It's not for just few individuals. So they should look at it at that angle, not necessarily trying to protect themselves and at the expense of 2,500 families. So they definitely have to leave so that the project will flourish.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for saying that. I hope that every Adamawa person thinks in the same direction, because that project has to be achieved. From all indications, the government is doing something meaningfully different from what has been done over the years on the project. I'm still concerned about the technical aspect of this project, Dr. Omar Binder. We are hoping that the project will be completed in record time and that it will put into use for it to impact on the 4 category areas of Adamawa State. What I want to ask has to do with the technical aspect of it. You talked about training of personnel to man the project when completed. You talked about different categories of persons that should do that, graduates, non-graduates, undergraduates, even those who didn't go to school at all, provided that whatever is going to be handled or operated can be done physically without much ado with any intellectual capacity. All right, so how would this be organized? You're advising Adamawa State government to establish an institute to that effect. What is the possibility of that? To train people specifically for that purpose?
Well, I think at all levels, Adamawa State should take it very, very seriously. Like my brother Ibrahim said, it's one of the states that have a poverty incidence of over 75%. And they need jobs, they need income, they need peace and unity, and so on and so forth. So this project is one of the potential antidotes to all that. Therefore, the government must have an interest, whether they want to push for their internally generated revenue to grow. That is one of the opportunities. If they want to generate employment, high wage employment, this is the opportunity. If they want young people to be engaged so that they are united and peaceful, this is the project. If we want to also be known as a branded state that is exporting quality food products to other parts of the country, possibly even to out of the country, that is the project. If we want to be known to be producing secondary products through downstream processing, this is the project. So the project is so important to the state that the state has to turn its attention to that. They must first of all start with institutionalizing the project so that these encroachments have to stop. If those who have encouraged, no matter how high or low they are, they should be begged or encouraged or be pushed by force to leave the area so that we can be able to mature. So it's a very, very important project for Adamawa State. But at the highest level, the federal level too, the managerial input into sustaining the project has to be raised high. The management of that project, the office of that project, the reorientation requirement on that project, all has to happen from the federal government. And then certainly all these players that we're talking about, from environment, agriculture, water, they're all present in the state at the federal level. If you go to the federal secretariat, you see them. There should be a strategy to make them come together. In fact, personally, Kirian, I'm going to encourage soon that I will go to Yola, I will partner with Ministry of Water Resources and Agriculture. We will float a summit, a conference to the Chochi project so that we invite all stakeholders so that we can share this information and then help our government to make sure that we take the best merits and benefits of the project for our development.
All right, before I go to Engineer Oloniye, Adama Song didn't respond. You are from Adamawa State and you heard Adama Song say that Adamawa is one of the poorest. So are you very optimistic that this project will take Adamawa out of that state?
Adamawa actually is a very surprising state. We have the largest numbers of cattle at state, yet we are very poor. We have one of the largest, the director will tell you, of the source of water resources, fresh water resources, yet we are poor. Something is wrong. And what is wrong is reflecting on these resources to take advantage of them. And I think this project is one of those reflections. And I'm sure we will all, as technocrats, as leaders in the state, and as stakeholders in this project, will actually show interest to push it forward.
All right. So, yes, Adamawa is optimistic that they will become rich when this project is completed. You know, but it's one thing to complete projects in Nigeria. This project has dragged for 35 years. And like Karen has mentioned, some people were not born. Now they are adults and probably having children. So, it's not just about completion. I asked you earlier about irrigation projects across the country. Could you tell us how will this project be maintained? Because sometimes you get projects started and after a couple of years, I mean, it's not functional anymore. What's the plan really for this project in terms of maintenance, and then some other irrigation projects that you claim are functional at the moment? How will they be maintained to ensure sustainability?
Thank you. I want to express that there is a project called Transforming Irrigation Management in Nigeria. And under that project, we have some that have already reached completion level. Some will be commissioned, a particular one will be commissioned by the end of this month, by the grace of God. And it's a huge project for that matter, whereby the management structure is being put in place for each project that we now engage in or develop. After the development, even before, the farmers are constituted into water users association. Some of the things that plagued the project previously has to do with the users, the beneficiaries, maybe depending solely on the federal government for the operation and maintenance at all the hydraulic levels. But with this transformer irrigation management, there is this model where the farmers are well constituted legally. They form a group, and then they are able to maintain the infrastructure at certain hydraulic boundary, whereas the other ones like the earthworks, which is bigger structure, can be maintained and managed by the agency, our river basins. From this concept, the farmers are trained on how to do routine maintenance on their own without depending on anybody. They do it. They are very strong team. Any water charges that they are also supposed to pay for whatever water they are using in terms of the structures and everything, they are able to raise the money within themselves. They keep check on each other. Anybody that is not making his own payment to generate the revenue to the government, as well as get something to do their maintenance, they police each other now, because they are now they are knowledgeable. They are able to do that routine maintenance without waiting for anybody, as against leaving the infrastructure. If the thing gets spoiled, they will come, and when they are not coming in time, then they leave it. It's no more like that. So on all our projects, where they are already on ground, that they are established, we are strengthening them, and where they are not yet there, we are ensuring that they are able to get established. And this one will also enhance the sustainability of the project. The Trilly project is a World Bank sponsored project, and it's all geared towards not only investing huge amount of money on our projects, but to ensuring their sustainability in terms of producing food for the country and possibly for export, as well as even food security for our great nation, Nigeria. So with this, I'm sure there will be more positive impact of this project with time. Yeah.
Well, I think I like the level of certainty and assurances, from Engineer Ronke Oluni on this. Now, my colleague raised that point, very, very critical, because lack of maintenance culture has been part of our problem over the years, right? And if you go to the ministry, or federal ministry, or state ministries, you see some cars, they are parked there. One day I deliberately asked the question to somebody to say, look, this car has been parking here for only God knows when. But what's wrong with the car? He said that the first time they parked the car, he started having brake issues, so he had to do brake pad, and of course the upper and lower arm, of the clutch. I said that is why this car is there. That car has been there for nearly 10 years now, and it belongs to a ministry. It's happening even in agencies of government and whatever. But if you say there's something new in the Ministry of Water Resources, I want to believe you, and I want to believe also that it can be sustained. And that's why I want to go to Mr. Adama song once more, because the project is domiciled in Adamawa State. So beneficiaries, you are the beneficiaries. If it is sustained in terms of maintenance, it is yours. So how do you give us assurances now that your people are going to guard that place jealously? And of course, like Madam said, they police each other to ensure that the project is not only sustained, but some components of the machinery that will be installed there are not removed by individuals. Is there assurance?
12,000 hectares, talk less of 1,200 hectares. If a proper planning of the maintenance crew is done, I think there is not going to be too much problem with the maintenance. One excavator and a grader, plus skilled, technicians and engineers who are going to do the maintenance, can do the maintenance of 1,200 hectares of infrastructure, irrigation infrastructure.
Okay, I hope it's not like a challenge now that stops him. Maybe he ended what he was trying to say. Aaron, you want to say something?
Yes, and I'd like to ask Dr. Uma Brinder. You were a former SSG in Adamawa State. I would say that you were part of an administration that could have completed this project or could have pushed, because you mentioned that you support Engineer Oluniyi as regards state and local government being a part of this whole process, so that things are done as fast as possible. Could you tell us, as at the time you were SSG, what really were the issues that stopped your administration from ensuring that this project was completed? it's important that you mention, just so that whoever is there now, or those to come, can learn from maybe some of the challenges you may mention, or what it is that stopped your administration from ensuring that you deliver this good, because according to you this is a good that will benefit the whole of Adamawa State. What stopped you from your administration at that time from ensuring the completion of this project?
Well, actually, I don't think state governments for this type of very heavy funding projects will even look at it, because you have so many other projects. Your schools are bad. You are trying to give boreholes and wells to people to drink water. You are trying to ensure that people are employed through your micro agriculture projects, and then all you do is you become a spectator to these projects because it's a federal might. And particularly this church, when you go, you see the canals, you see the empty space. In fact, what we contribute more is literally to complain. Complaining about what is wrong with the federal government, that they have not finished this. It's like we're just waiting for it. But this has to change because of this experience. If you're just waiting there and then you get frustrated to the extent that you now open up the land for encroachment, that is negative thinking. So the review, just like the federal ministry has reviewed the project and now is injecting resources, there should also be a lot of reorientation and information flow and synergy strategies to ensure that the state government wakes up to understand that, hey, it's not just federal government project, it's your project too. You need to participate. Even if you don't give funding, don't allocate land to people to encroach. Even if you don't fund it, when we put infrastructure, help us with the basic security to ensure that things are not destroyed. Even if you don't fund, when there is anything, whether there is big flood or whatever, make sure that we know. That synergy is important as a participation. And I can tell you this project is blessed in the sense that Engineer Gundiri, which is one of our oldest engineers in Adamawa State, was the director as these things commenced, and he is alive, and he's constantly, whenever I see him, he's sort of like sweating that this has not been completed. He accepts it as one of his failure. The guy who initiated this project, Salihijo, who is late, may God be with him, was also a committed Nigerian who worked under President Buhari when he was at PTF to make sure this works. So I think it is divine that this project is coming back to the drawing table. But coming back to the drawing table, going by Kiren, it should not be business as usual. There has to be another change. Change in getting the state government to understand, change in ensuring that the capacities are all rigged to make sure it's successful, changes to make everybody, including all Nigerians, to understand that if there is peace, unity in Adamawa State, it will rub on Borno State, it will rub on Taraba State, it will rub on Yobe State, and so on and so forth. That by reflection will rub on Nigeria. So this is a very critical project, and I hope that it will work the way it has been revised.
All right, you hope it works, the way it's been revised. I just quickly want to hear your thoughts as regards, how state governments should function. Because you said that during your time, when you were part of the administration, during your time, you had other projects that you had to focus on. But that did not improve the state of Adamawa. Because still today, it has been mentioned that Adamawa is still poor. So it means those other projects that you focused on did not improve on the well-being of the people of Adamawa State. Do you think that state governments should focus on things that would not improve on the livelihoods of their citizens and focus on projects like this? Because if people are empowered, if the farmers, can now farm, export, they have money, they can afford to pay fees, they can afford to do certain things. If people are busy, they do not have time for criminality and all of that. Do you think that government should focus on those other things that you mentioned, or focus on, I'm just saying, give an advice, because you were part of a government. Do you think they should focus on big projects like this that would, impact on the whole state in general, and of course make the work of the government much easier?
Actually, it's a fact that yes, it's easy for people to say Adamawa State is one of the poorest. It's actually not. Because Adamawa now is recognized as the fastest growing state economically. The infrastructure that has been established by the previous government from 2015 to 2019 and by this government is tremendous, in the sense that it is reviving. If you are in Yola 10 years ago and you are in Yola today, you will certainly shake your head and ask what is happening. But it is important to recognize these federal government projects as a component for the development of the state. And so my advocacy is that State government, wake up. Don't be scared about funding. Nobody's asking you for money necessarily, but that partnership, that synergy, that cooperation to ensure that things work very, very quickly is literally what is required of the state.
I think the question she asked is actually apt in the sense that water resources is on the concurrent list. So some states may not even keen to federal government policy on water resources. Some pay, some don't, because you know that the federal government provides bulk water. It's its primary responsibility. Why the states should reticulate this water to their people. That is what is. But then we're not seeing that. So what she was talking about could be connected, with the fact that then maybe the administration then did not prioritize the project, not necessarily putting its money there, but could push for it. It could lobby for it, lobby federal government to continue with it, because what my colleague was trying to say is that the state government then played it down. They didn't prioritize it to say, look, even if we can't put money there, we can push federal government to do that, and so on. So that's just by the way. But then let me bring in Madam once more as we are rounding off this edition of the program. Has work commenced on the project now?
The contractor is still on site. Based on this revision of the contract, the full mobilization will commence in this month, early February. December, we had rains. So, there could not be much.
This does it have any PPP connotation, or is it an outright direct contract from federal government?
It's direct contract.
Direct contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. So we'll just quickly get the final thoughts from Ibrahim Ham and Adama Song as we round off this conversation. You are in Yola. I'm sure that you would like to give us your final thoughts as regards how this project can be speedily completed and, of course, put to full use by the people of Adamawa State. Adama Song.
Actually, like I said earlier on, everybody in Adamawa State, especially the local farmers, are jubilating with the news of reviving this contract, and the project will be executed. Everybody is there waiting for the completion of the project, and they are happy. As I am speaking now, I'm also happy because I used to be one of those who are working with the consultants, Alaji Ahmed Song, Alaji Bashir, and others, although they are now laid to rest. And the dream is that we want to see that the projects handled by the consultants are achieved, and then there is that the achievement, there's that production that we are expected to get from the irrigation land. You can see, I have told you already, the farmers are doing their own little farmings in the area with a very difficult way of doing it, sinking bores by themselves, irrigating their own farms using the bores, and then they pay more to do the farming. With the project now, it is going to be very easy for them. They have all the waters they want, they have the canals, they have the land, and then they have even the extension education for them to do the proper farming techniques there, which is their own dreams. I think everybody here is optimistic that this project is going to be very, very achievable.
All right, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of today's edition of the program. First of all, let's appreciate Ibrahim Ham and Adama Song, who joined us via our Yola studio, and to once again congratulate NTA management for ensuring that we can get through to Yola this time around. Congrats to the new DG and his team for making that possible. And of course, Dr. Umar Binder is a man around science, technology, and innovation. We're glad to have him here today. Thank you, sir, for being here this morning.
Thank you very much.
Engineer Ronke Lumi, I like the energy, that you exhumed this morning based on the understanding and good knowledge of what you are talking about. Thank you also for coming here this morning. All right, now